Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining today. Matt and I are really excited for this webinar today to kick off Envision 2.0. Thank you all again for joining. This will be recorded, so you can share it with anyone else on your team. So we will go ahead and distribute that at the end of probably by the end of the day today, if not by the morning. And then certainly we'll have a open Q&A session at the end of Matt's demonstration today. But if you have any questions as he's going through this, go ahead and put those in the question and answer panel in the GoToWebinar pane there. And if they're applicable to that time and we can fit them into what Matt is discussing, we'll go ahead and do that. Otherwise, we'll answer those at the end of the call. So I will go ahead and turn it over to Matt.
Awesome. Thanks, Lindsey. And yeah, just echo what Lindsey said. Thanks for joining today. Hopefully, everyone should have got this version earlier this morning, hopefully without any issues. And just wanted to take this time to kind of make sure everyone knows how to use it. I think there's some big changes which will make everyone's life easier, but for those people that have been on the system for a little bit, obviously old habits are hard to break. So, but I think truly once we go through this navigation and setting up the next couple of releases as well, what's coming down the road, I'm super excited. I think it's a big time for Envision and what's coming your way. So as we take a look at my screen here, still the same experience when you log in. The dashboard is still your home screen, but now we kind of see a new navigation across the top here. So let's just go ahead and dig in since we're short on time and we got a lot to show. So we are on the dashboard, and as we go through this, I'll probably stop and give some tips and tricks along the way, not only specific to the 2.0 version, but just things that I think would be helpful to point out to make sure that you know how to get the most out of Envision. So as we go through this here, we're going to see our dashboard. In the upper right corner, we're going to see our Edit Dashboard button. So as I click that Edit Dashboard button, I am now in edit mode. So from here, this is where I can kind of personalize my dashboard to my needs as what type of user I am in the plan, what things are important to me, etc. So a couple things to point out here is moving things around. So if I'm hover above a widget here, I can quickly move it. You'll see it move there after I drag and drop it. Same thing, you can move any of these widgets around. You can also add new widgets. So from here, a couple different ways to add widgets. I can go up here and click this Add Widget button, which will always add it to the top left corner. Or if I know where I want to add the widget, like if I want to add it between these two widgets, I can just simply click Add Widget, and then I can choose the widget that I want to add. So from here, let's just say I want to add this Reminders widget. And that's about it for the edit mode. So I'm going to go up here and click the Quit Edit Mode, and that's going to get me back to this view. So there is an additional step that I don't know if everybody kind of takes full advantage of what you can do from here now. So you can kind of see that I have two Reminders widgets. So as I click these three dots or ellipsis in the upper right corner, every widget has that ability to kind of configure the filters of the widget and adjust it based on your needs. So we won't go through all the widgets today, but just know that each widget, as you click those three dots, allows you to further filter down and personalize that widget again based on your needs. So the Reminders widget, for example, has My Reminders or All Reminders. So if I only want to look at My Reminders, I can leave this one on mine, and then this one down here, I can set this to All Reminders. So I can keep a look at, maybe I'm a plan admin where I have my own work, but maybe I want to keep an eye out on everybody else's work in the current state of it. So that Reminders widget is a good way to do that. So just make sure you're aware of that dashboard kind of personalization and take full advantage of that, because more than likely, one of these widgets, like I said, you can add it multiple times. So you can add it multiple times and create a different filter on each widget to the best of your liking. So just make sure you're taking full advantage of that. So as we go across the top here, dashboard is pretty self-explanatory. It's your default screen. If I'm ever anywhere else in the software, I can click dashboard. I can also click the company logo. So by default, you'll see our Envision logo. For some of you on some of our different subscription plans, you'd have the ability to insert your company logo here. But either way, whatever logo is there, you can also click that as a way to get back to the dashboard. So just kind of two ways to get back to the dashboard right there. As we go across the top, we're gonna see Work Center and Reports. These items are not accessible today. We are still working through those, but these are the things we're setting up for, and we won't touch on them now. But at the end of the demo here, I'll circle back around and talk a little bit about what's coming in the Work Center and Reports. But we just wanted to make sure, as you get used to the new navigation, these things will be coming over the next couple of releases, that you knew that where they were going to be and got comfortable with their location. So as I go across the top here, we're going to click in our plans drop down. So this plans drop down is very important. This is how you're going to access all of the plans that you are a member of, etc. So in this list here, the recent is always going to show you the 5 most recent plans that you have accessed. If you have less than 5 plans, your plan should automatically just show there by default all of the time. But let's say you had more than 5 plans and what they weren't showing here, you could, in this search, type in, and it will return this anytime cradle to career plan that I have there. You can also see down below here, I can view all plans, I can create a new plan. We won't cover those functions today, but essentially, if you're wondering where all the plans are, you could go into the view all plans and see a list of all of the plans in the system, archived, current, etc. The biggest thing we want to cover here is, what do I do when I want to go into a plan? So let's say I'm going to use my Scoops demo plan. I'm just going to hover over Scoops demo, and then over to the right, I'm going to get this sub menu that slides out. And then you're going to see all of the functional areas inside of the plan that I can get to. So we're just going to start with the plan overview. So now I am in the Scoops plan and I am looking at the plan overview. Formerly, you probably would have noticed this as strategy overview, but we've kind of changed some terminology around to make it easier for people that are tracking not only strategic plans, but maybe operational plans or things that are not specific to strategy, but they're still able to use Envision to track whatever plan that they are executing. So on the plan overview here, not much has changed. Across the top here, I can still click in to these health meters. So again, these are clickable. So I'm not sure if everybody knows that. As I look through here, if I want to see everything that's healthy, I can simply click on it. And now it's going to take me into a search result that has everything that is marked as healthy in green. Scoot back there. So again, these are all clickable, interactable. Same thing with these widgets. I can click it and it'll give me the search results there specific to that filter that I clicked on. So this plan overview, again, is a good way just to keep a bird's eye view of the current state of your execution. This is probably where a lot of leadership spends their time, looking through what's going on a daily or weekly basis. As I scroll down here, you're still going to see our sunburst, still the same functionality as I click through it. The one thing you're not going to see is next to this health map, which was also known as the strategy map, we also had a strategy tree. Well, now you don't see the strategy tree. Don't worry, we didn't get rid of it. We've actually done you hopefully a better service to how you use that strategy tree. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually just going to click this details button. So as you interact with the sunburst, let's just say here, this is going to give you a kind of a summary card of what you're clicking on or what you're looking at. Well, with this details button, what's going to happen when I click on it, it's now going to pull me into what we're calling the plan navigator. So we've redesigned the tree that was formerly on that overview screen, and we've inserted it on that left-hand pane. For those people on a widescreen monitor, this pane should automatically, or panel on the left should automatically be expanded and take use of that widescreen. For some of you on a smaller, maybe on a laptop monitor, that panel will be collapsible or expandable with this control right here. So if you're on the page and you don't see it, you simply click that arrow and you would get that expansion. But you'll notice that I clicked on details on that test item, and it's automatically taking me into the plan navigator with that item automatically expanded. So as you navigate from anywhere in the application, and I'll show you some more examples later on when we talk about the search functionality, but anytime that you're clicking into a detailed link of an entity, it's always going to open up the plan navigator to exactly the item that you clicked on. So as we go up here, I'm going to be able to click through here, and let's say I'm set on this item here. So again, my focus is on cow nutrition. I see cow nutrition over on the right. So this detailed page over on the right, not much new functionality. just a cleaner look and design to it that hopefully is a little bit easier for you to use. So as you look through here, I still have my ownership that I can assign. You'll see that I still have my status. I still have the dates, my target states. You know, you would have the grid view down here, or card views if depending on, and actually let me get you to a better place here to see that. So as I click on partnerships over here, it's got some child entities underneath it. So I still see the child card here. I can switch to the grid view. If I want to sort and only want to look at the KPIs that are underneath here, all of that functionality remains. And again, as you want to add new things to the plan, same thing over here on this detailed view. When you click add new, you're still going to get that wizard experience that walks you through what you're allowed to create at this level. So the wizard experience we've talked about over past several releases is still there. Still should be intuitive enough to get you to understand what level you're at and what you're able to create. As I look over here on the right-hand side, the right drawer, still the same functionality, just a little bit of a cleaner look. Some of the order in this right drawer was reordered to make it a little bit easier to use. You know, as I go through here, still the same thing, attachments, just again, cleaner look. I'll say that a lot today, cleaner look, easier to use, easier to understand what you're allowed to do without having too many clicks involved. One thing I want to call out here is the use of tags on our entity detail here. So when we talk about tags, it's more of a category tag or a bucket. So as I look at this item, it's already got tags for marketing, sales, and finance. Maybe I want to add another tag, and let's call this just tests. Now it's got that test tag. Whatever the tag is here, as I'm trying to bucket things together that might span across different portions of the plan, there's some sort of relation across the plan that you want to be able to group those things together. These tags are a really good way to do that. So as you're looking at tags, and let's say this marketing, this is actually a clickable piece of the software where I can click marketing, and now it's going to take me to the search results with everything with that marketing tag. So as you're building out your plans or trying to streamline how you connect things across the plan, you know, the tags themselves don't have a health, or you can't look at how a tag is doing, but it's just a good way to categorize and bucket things together to make it easier to search later on within one click. While I mentioned the word search here, something to call out too on that tree view or this plan navigator over on the left is the ability to do a quick search. If you're looking for anything, since we're in our scoops kind of demo ice cream company plan, let's look for anything that has the word cow in it. So now it's going to return anything that has the word cow in it, and I can click through and see which one I need to go to. So again, an easy way to find things that probably wasn't as easy before in the previous interface. And in the previous interface, we had what we call the breadcrumb trail. So the breadcrumb trail was really the only way to navigate throughout the plan. So up top here, you'd have this breadcrumb trail, and you would use that to see what was at that level. You'd have to, you know, click to get a drop down, and then you'd have to click to it. It was confusing. We still allow you to see the breadcrumb trail. It's still clickable, but the breadcrumb trail is not your navigation anymore. The navigation is all in the plan navigator. And again, you'll see kind of that cleaner look to the previous tree view where it was kind of a little blocky. Now we've kind of made it a little more appealing to your eyes, hopefully a little less stressful to your eyes, easier to see where you're at, easier to see the connection between things, etc. So we'll probably come back to the plan navigator in a little bit when we get into the actual search function. But as we continue out throughout the plan here, you'll notice that when I clicked plans, and I hover above them, I can see all of the functional areas inside of a plan. Well, you don't have to go up here and click plans and say, hey, I want to go to key performance indicator in Scoops. Well, I'm already in Scoops, and now I can just click key performance indicator here. Super simple. How easy was that, right? So now we're reducing the amount of clicks. We're giving you literally a one-click access from anywhere in the application, whether it's somewhere in the system, whether it's somewhere inside the plan. you are literally one click away from getting to the information that you need. So as we go through here, you're going to see the key performance indicator area. And again, no new functionality on here, just the updated design and look. So I can still, like the other pages here, I can still click through these widgets, which will update what I'm looking at. I can still, search or filter by location. So our plan KPIs, our global KPIs. So all of the same functionality inside of this key performance indicator area. But something to call out here while I'm looking at this is maybe I'm looking at KPIs for my Scoops plan, but maybe I really want to be looking at also one of my other plans. So let's say I got this balanced scorecard plan, and if I click into it, well, it's going to let me stay in the KPI page and just look at the different plan. So now instead of having to go up here and choose what plan I want to get into and then go into KPIs or whatever I'm calling them, measures, key results, because you can customize that terminology. But it simply allows me, if I'm a multiple plan user, whatever page I'm on in the plan, I can quickly stay on that page, but switch which plan I'm looking at. So again, going back to the reduced amount of clicks and having easy access from anywhere. As I keep going across the right here, you're going to see, let me switch back to Scoops. We're going to see critical success factors. So I click on this icon here. You'll notice a new icon for the critical success factors. It's a trophy. So critical success factors sometimes are a difficult thing for customers to understand what they are. Those critical success factors are the things that you must get right across the entire plan in order for you to succeed or win. So that's why we've implemented the trophy icon. So what do you need to do to win? What do you need to do to finish first? What do you need to do to beat the competition? So these critical success factors are a good way, if I switch to the card view again, good way to connect multiple things that span across the plan. So as I look at customer centricity here, so as I look down, everything that's connected from inside the plan to this critical success factor, it's probably part of different segments, different strategies, different objectives, but they all have that theme of customer centricity. So when we think about critical success factors, they're really a theme that crosses over the plan. And a critical success factor, when we start digging into kind of the weeds of how the system calculates health, the critical success factor applies a weighting to things when it's connected to it. So something that's connected to a critical success factor is going to be weighed 3 times as more important than an action item that's not. So you can connect KPIs, action items, tactics, objectives to a critical success factor. And if you, let's say, connect an objective, anything that lives underneath that objective is automatically going to have that weighting applied to it because that objective has that theme. So we're going to apply that theme to everything that lives underneath it. So I just want to call that out. And again, if you have any questions about what we're talking about, feel free to put them in the chat there. And if we don't have time to get to them today, Lindsey or I will make sure, or somebody on our team will follow up with you as you have questions about functionality we're covering. So as I keep going down the right here, you're going to see members. So members used to be a page in the software that was combined with the vision, mission, and values. So now we've kind of separated the two of them living on one page, which just wasn't a good user experience. So we've learned from that, and you're going to say, well, where did I put the vision, mission, and values? So if I go back to the navigator, you're going to see my vision, mission, and values. So anytime that you go back to the navigator, without clicking a detailed link and going to a specific detail, but anytime I just freely click on the navigator, that's where I'm going to see my vision, mission, and values. So as your users or the people that are part of your plan, making sure you're following that vision is critical. So every time that they go to that navigator, they're going to see your vision, mission, and values. So that's something important to call out that we didn't touch on about the navigator. But when I go back to the members page here, just a clear idea of what that function and what that page is for. So I can see members, and then from here I can adjust who's a member of my plan. Maybe somebody's leaving the company, I can take them off the plan, etc. But this is where that you would configure every user that is a member of your plan, what type of access or role they have in your plan. As we keep going down the right here, we're going to see plan settings. So in the previous version, plan settings, and I will preface this where if you don't see members or don't see settings, don't freak out. It could be that your system role, how you were configured as a user in the system, you may just not have the privileges to see them, but somebody in your organization does. So if you're not seeing these things, don't freak out. It just doesn't pertain to you, but it's something that important that we need to cover today. But as we talk about the settings in the previous version, you know, a lot of things were hidden in that left drawer, which we call kind of the hamburger menu. So you'd have to click in the left drawer, you'd have to click on the plan you wanted, then you'd have to click down to plan settings, and then you'd actually have to choose which page in the plan settings you'd want to go to. A lot of clicks, a lot of navigation. We've making it easier. We've taken all of the pages that are part of plan settings and tabbed them out on this one page. So instead of having to go to 3 different pages, I can simply just click on the tabs across the top here, and I can quickly change context of where I'm at in the plan settings. So just real quick, move entities. This is where if you need to move something, an action item got created underneath the wrong objective or strategy, you can move that action item with this move functionality. Terminology is where you can see the plan structure, what you call things, and again, this is where maybe I would want to change segment to focus area. But you can update the terminology throughout the plan to match maybe what's in your language or how you talk strategic things and the structure that you want to use. And then notifications too is where a plan admin can configure what people are being emailed about. So if people are deeming they're getting too much noise out of the system, they can come in here and configure what's being notified or what's being sent out of the system. So we have the email notifications, and then we also have the digest summary report, where depending on your subscription, you can choose which days of the week you want to send a digest out. And the digest again is just a queued up summary of all the activity that was put in, any new things that were created as part of the plan, any notes, any KPI data points. So that's kind of where we talk about breaking down the silos with that digest report, where notifications are more about what you own or what you're collaborating or watching, whereas the digest summary report is going to take all of the activity across the entire plan and share it with all the members of the plan based on their access. So if something is confidential, it's not going to go to a user that has a role that's not allowed to see confidential information. But this is where you can come in here as a plan admin and adjust those notifications. The last thing to call out here and part of the plan is the archive. So this is just as you're building things out or things maybe were important when you started the plan, but maybe 3 months into it, you haven't started on something, but it's no longer important to what you're doing today, you can simply archive that. So if I go back to the navigator and go down here to a part of the plan, there is an archive option, and that's how you do the archive. But it doesn't delete it, doesn't get rid of it. It's something that you can kind of keep track of maybe what was important on day 1, but 3 months later it wasn't important. So maybe at the end of the year, you go through the archive and look through this to see, hey, like we obviously created something about this. It was important. Now it's not important, or it wasn't important at some point, and allows you to go back and review those and maybe we need to take another look at that. And then instead of archiving it, you would go into it and then you can activate it. So instead of archive, now I have activate. So that's basically everything inside the plan there. I don't want to get too much into the weeds because I want to leave some room for some questions and answers towards the end here. But that was a pretty good overview of what's inside of a plan. Anything right now, Lindsey, that you think we should stop on?
No questions right now. Thank you.
Cool. All right, so we'll continue to go across the top of the header here. So search functionality remains basically the same as it was before. On a wider screen like I'm on today, the search is going to automatically be expanded. If you're on a smaller monitor, you might see it where you're only going to see this icon and you have to click the icon, which will then slide out the search bar. But again, for most people in an office environment today, primarily going to be using widescreen, so we want to make sure we gave full advantage to those users and allowed them, again, to reduce the amount of clicks, make it easier to know where everything is at. So as I go through the search here, You can type in a keyword. Let's say if I want to type in cow, you can choose everything, which just means all plans, or I can choose a specific plan I want to search. For my purposes here, something I want to make sure people are aware of is if you're not sure what you're searching for, you're trying to get all the information at once, don't type anything in, just simply click search, and that's going to go ahead and search everything across all plans. So now basically I have everything, which is a little cumbersome with the amount of plans I have in this demo instance, but you know, from there, if I wanted to export it all, I could export it all to XLS. Same logic applies with the filtering today, where you can further filter on down things. The one thing I will call out, if I go, let's actually search cow, and I get this item here. So if I search, click into that, so you notice how I was on the search, clicked into it, brought me into the plan navigator with that thing expanded. So as you use the search, as you click into items, it'll automatically expand the plan navigator and show you where you're at in the plan, and show you the detailed view of that thing that you clicked on the right-hand side there. Same logic works though. You'll notice I hit the back button, remembers where I was at in the search. So for those that are searching multiple pages, let's say you're on page 3, you navigate it into the plan navigator. When you go back, it's going to still remember where you're at in the search. So just want to make sure we didn't break that or lose that. Make sure, because I know that was helpful to a lot of the people that I saw signed up to the webinar today. As I continue to go over across the right, quick add. Quick add is a good feature. I think it's probably one of the most underutilized features that we have when we look at some of our usage statistics. So just wanted to take a moment to review what quick add can be used for, and what kind of benefits you can get out of it. So quick add is a good way to add a note on a fly. So you know, this is something I don't want to forget. You know, and it allows me to do two things, either publish it or save it as a draft. So from the quick add, I can save a note as a draft because maybe I'm not ready for everyone to see it, but it's something I don't want to forget. You know, you could add your note, you could attach an item if you wanted to, and then you could simply click save as draft. If you wanted to also publish it, you can actually look up the location. Let's say I know that I want this to be part of cow nutrition, something I don't want to forget, you know, I can publish that, which will publish it. But the key thing there, if I go back to the dashboard, is I'm gonna have a widget. Do I have it on here? It looks like I don't, so let's go ahead and add it. Oh, actually right there up to the right. So I do have an assigned draft widget. So if I save a progress note as a draft, it's gonna show on my assigned draft widget. And that's only gonna show to me. So nobody else in the plan is going to see that I saved something as draft. So if you're not ready for people to see it, it's a good way just to log different notes. Maybe you use it as ideas that you want to, you know, log a note of something that you want to talk with your manager about in your next one-on-one about, hey, I think we should try this. But it's a good way to you know, save things as notes that you're going to publish eventually, save things as ideas, you know, whatever it is. And something also to call out too is you can save action items or KPIs as drafts too. So if you're creating an action item, but you're like, oh, I need to ask somebody a question before I create this, you'll have the option at the bottom when you're creating a new action item to save it as drafts. Same type of logic applies, that it would show in only your assigned draft widget. Keep going across the top here, notifications. So again, notifications are gonna be automatic based on what you own, what you're watching, if somebody tags you in a progress note. And I think the key thing too is also reminders. So the system, based on how you set up your plan, how you set up your strategic activities, your action items, your KPIs, the system's gonna try to keep you accountable for the work that you own through these reminders. So as you see here, I have a reminder 4 items are past due. I click on it, I get to the search page where I see what's past due, and then from there, I can click into it, and you know, this is late because of the vendor not being ready, whatever it is. You FYI at, and I can tag Lindsey in a progress note there. So when I tag Lindsey in a progress note like that, now she's going to get notified that, oh, hey, Matt tagged you in something, you better take a look at it. So moving on from notifications, we're going to take a look at the user avatar menu, as we call it. So as I click there, you're going to see some different options in here. So as a user, you're going to be able to manage your profile. And the one thing I would call out here is nothing new, but you'll see my picture out of the box. You won't have a picture, you just have a random color assigned to your avatar. But it takes a couple minutes. We're all in the social media world of today that we all probably have some sort of picture or avatar that we're using. Take your LinkedIn profile, whatever it is. I suggest, to kind of just make it more personable, upload a photo of yourself instead of having that random color. That photo is going to show throughout. So as I look, if I go back to the dashboard and look at my teams, I'm going to see, who's doing things on the activity feed. If I go down to my teams, I'm going to see the picture of Richard, the picture of Susan, instead of just seeing their initials in some color. So it really adds some personalization that I would recommend doing. It's a little simple thing, but I think it goes a long way. In preferences here, this is where as a user, I can control how often the system's going to notify me. So as the plan admin, I can choose what types of notifications I want to make sure are being sent out, but this would actually allow me to choose the frequency. So let's say I send email every 1 hour. I'm going to change it to every 4 hours for myself. That just means that I'm only going to get notified from Envision every 4 hours. And it's basically just going to queue up any of the notifications between my last notification and 4 hours later this notification. So it's going to just bunch those up together. So if I had, 2 notifications in hour 1, 3 notifications in hour 2, and nothing in hour 3 and 4, that email notification I'm going to get is going to have the 5 notifications from the first 2 hours instead of having 2 separate notifications for the first 2 hours if this was set on 1. So as a user, you can configure how often you are. I wouldn't suggest turning these off, but again, we do. If you're going to turn these off, most times we see people do that when they use some of our integrations with Slack or Microsoft Teams, where they're still getting those notifications in some sort of external way through that third-party integration. And then this is also where, as a user, you can link your storage account. So if you do not have the ability to link here, it just simply means the person that is your system admin or has those privileges hasn't enabled that integration yet, which we'll take a look at here in a minute. But if you want to seamlessly, and you're using, let's say, Google Drive, and you seamlessly want to be able to attach files and not have to look for it in multiple places, I'm just going to pop back over here real quick to the quick add, and you'll see as I click on Google Drive, I've already linked my account, but you'll see like it literally brings up my Google Drive, all my folders, files, etc. So if I'm using Google Drive as my main file repository or document storage solution, I don't have to, download it from Google Drive and then drag and drop it into Envision. We still have that drag and drop functionality that you can drag and drop stuff from your computer to Envision, but these integrations are pretty good and a pretty good or efficient use of your time based on how your company internally maybe communicates or does file storage. And you'll see as here, if I just select that, simple as that, to attach a file when you're using those integrations. So that's the preferences. System settings, again, I'll warn you, if you don't see it, it just means your user's not a system admin. Somebody in your organization has this ability. So as we go into the system settings, we're going to talk a little bit about similar to what we did with the plan settings, where you'll see all of these tabs across the top. All of these used to be separate pages. So you literally would have to go to the left menu, click once, go down to system settings, click twice. Then maybe I want to go to users first. I would click into users. And then from there, I'd either have to go back up to the left menu or go up to the breadcrumb. It was very confusing for especially new users that were trying to get them to stick in early adoption, making it easier for them to know where everything is. So again, we've taken all of those pages and combined them into one. And now you have a tab experience as we scroll across there. So users is pretty self-explanatory, where you go to add your new users. Roles are the plan roles. So every user, when you assign them as a member of a plan, they have roles. We have roles that are out of the box. Depending on your subscription, you can create new custom roles. Won't cover that for time purposes. Teams is a good functionality, just to kind of take a minute here to explain what you can do with teams. So the admin sets up the teams, but the teams allows me to, if I go back to that dashboard widget we were just at a little bit ago, it'll show every member that's part of my team. So as we use teams, so I'm part of a team that has Richard and Susan on it. So if I click Richard now, I can easily access everything that Richard owns. So using Teams is a good way to make it easier to keep on track of what's going on for people that are important to my department maybe, or my functional area, or as a product manager myself, I'm kind of off in my own land, but it's very important that I communicate with marketing, with sales, with customer success throughout the organization, right? So even though they're not part of my department, I still probably would want to be on a team with them, and they could quickly access and click, oh, Matt's on my team. Let me click on Matt, see everything that he's been doing. So just a good way to continue to filter on that data and make it easier for you to access that data across plans. So I'm going to go back into system settings. GUI settings, again, this is just depending on your subscription level, you can customize this. You'll be able to upload your own logo. You can switch between a light and dark theme, and then you can also change the system color here. And you'll notice as I change that, now my buttons have changed throughout. So a good way, if you wanted to personalize, kind of white label the application, if you will, so it has the look and feel that it is your company. So just one of those little things like the avatar picture, small little things, but it goes a long way into making the application more personalizable and more fitting for your company. And then as we talk about integrations, we talked about a little bit the Microsoft Teams and Slack when we talked about emails, but these integrations allow you to have updates that are sent to Microsoft Teams. So each plan you can configure that's part of a specific Teams channel, and then everything that's done in Envision is going to be sent to, so if I look up the Scoops plan and configure that, you'll have some configuration options of like, hey, what type of information sensitivity do I want to send into this channel? But essentially, it's going to send all of the notifications when a KPI is created, when a data point is added to a KPI. So for some people in your organization, instead of having to check email, which Envision does a really good job of, sending those emails out and keeping people on the same page, some people prefer to turn the emails off or not use the email so heavily, but use one of these integrations because on a daily basis, they're spending more times in Teams or more times in Slack. So those integrations are technically the same. Slack and Teams, you'll see they fall under this communication category. And then we talk about file storage. By default, these are all turned off. So if you are a system admin, you want somebody to be allowed to use Google Drive, you would come in here and toggle that from off to on. And you could, if your organization uses multiple storage solutions, you could turn all of these on. Just depends again on your subscription level of how many you're allowed to turn on. And then this account page is where you can come in here and view and manage your subscription with us. And that's about it. Let me look at my notes here. I think I covered everything. Oh, the help menu, probably pretty important. I covered that, right? So you'll notice in the bottom right corner used to be our help menu. You'll notice now it has moved to the left-hand side. Still the same functionality pops up. You can type in your question. You can request support. So obviously this was a huge change, a huge investment of our development team and resources to redo this. We try to catch as much stuff internally as possible, but bugs are inevitable in the software world. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. And as you notice issues or something looks wonky or something didn't happen right, or just general questions at all, don't hesitate to come on to this help menu, click request support. Somebody from our team will reach out, set up a phone call, or do their best to answer your question through the support ticket. Another thing to point out here is submit an idea. So some of the 2.0 navigation stuff came from ideas. Over the past couple of releases, we've taken a lot of the ideas that our customers submitted. So we do have an idea portal where you can submit an idea, you can view ideas that are already submitted, you can vote on them, you can add comments, whatever it is. That's something as a product manager, or even Lindsey as heading up our customer success team, when anybody from customer success or maybe even sales, anytime we're getting feedback about the product, we're logging that as an idea. And that idea portal kind of backlog of ideas helps us generate future ideas of how we develop things, why we develop things, where we're going with the product. So, and it, if you're having the idea or if you're having a problem, more than likely somebody else using Envision's having that same problem. So, we're all one big community here, so let's try to help each other as much as we can. Helps me help the development team deliver a better product that helps you execute on your strategy better. So we can all help each other. So I just want to make sure I call that out there. I want to think that's about it for what's new. Lindsey, any questions or feedback we got?
No questions yet. If you do have questions, go ahead and put them in the questions panel in the GoToWebinar pane there. But no questions quite yet.
Cool. We'll give it a couple minutes here, see if anybody submits suggestions. While we're doing that, do want to circle back and talk about the Work Center and reports. So you'll see coming soon on these areas. So the Work Center, what is that going to be? So the Work Center is going to be kind of the execution hub of the software, where as a user, I can go in and get a bird's eye view of my strategic workload over a calendar view. So the first pass, we're going to have a calendar view as part of our next release in November, which is going to allow you to view your work, your strategic activities, so those time-bound action items, those time-bound KPIs, the things that are bringing your plan to life through dates, reminders, etc. You'll be able to see on a monthly basis how much work I have coming up. So if something's set to a weekly reminder or weekly frequency on an action item, you're going to be able to see that every Friday I'm going to have to go in and update that action item. So you'll be able to see as a manager how much, Matt's going to be able to go and see how much Lindsey's required to do, and maybe she's overloaded. So it's really about taking the strategic activity and allowing you to see it on a time-bound basis. So we're first going to have a calendar view, followed up with a kind of roadmap timeline view. Naming still being figured out, but it's not going to be a traditional project management Gantt chart, but similar Gantt chart view, if you will, where you'll be able to see strategic activities on a horizontal view, where you want to maybe look at quarter one, maybe you want to look at the first 6 months. And you, at that point, you won't even, maybe not looking at Lindsey would be important, but maybe I want to look at a specific strategy or a specific objective, or maybe even a segment as a whole, and see all of the work that we have, all of the activity that we have scheduled over the first 6 months. And through that view, you'll be able to identify that, whoa, like we got way too much work going on in March or April. We need to adjust or coordinate better about who's going to do this work, because it looks like, Lindsey's got 7 things due in April. She probably can't do that. So just a more interactive, robust way to do some filterings, view things, again, with that bird's eye view approach. So the Work Center is going to be evolving over the next 1 to 3 releases, I'd say, as we try to plan out our development work and what we can get done. And obviously some of this stuff may be delivered in steps. So the calendar view you might get in November may not be the end all. I might have some limited functionality because we still want to concentrate on delivering some value to you on a monthly basis. So, but we will make sure you're aware and communicate that out as we go through here, and be transparent with you that, hey, this calendar view is in November's release, but hey, it's not fully done yet. So don't be satisfied with what you're seeing. We're still bringing you X, Y, and Z in December. And then when we talk about reports, A lot of people today use our search functionality to apply filters, and then they'll export stuff to XLS and then maybe take it to some third-party software, etc. But other than today, we obviously recommend people using Envision to communicate to their internal stakeholders, external stakeholders. But I think people are maybe taking screenshots of what's in Envision and then using that in a PowerPoint, or they're trying to use Envision in meetings, but it's not always getting them to the point of the best way to communicate how a specific strategy is going, or how do I take my entire plan and communicate everything on one page so I can have a one-page summary of my plan, or I want to take this entire plan and get into a Word doc. Some of that functionality is going to live under this reports area. So that'll be an area that we, just like the Work Center, will continue to build out here over the next couple of releases. So you'll most likely start seeing stuff in the reports area in December. And again, one of those things where we may have a couple reports in December and then keep building upon that over the next several releases as we get feedback and ideas. We did do some focus groups with some of you that I know are on here, but some of you I know we're probably not part of those focus groups. So going back to the idea portal, or the things that customer feedback drives our roadmap, we'll continue to think about how we do focus groups and get customer feedback as well. So as we roll these Work Center and reports out, just because we've rolled something out doesn't mean it's done. We're constantly evolving, we're constantly learning, we're listening to the feedback. So hopefully, I'm not just Envision 2.0 is what we're calling it, just doesn't start or stop today because we've released 2.0. This is going to be an ever-growing product. Essentially Envision 2.0 with the interface changes really set us up for success for the next couple of months to be able to build upon that. And I'm super excited for the things that I'm working with the development team on, and what we're going to be bringing you over the next several releases. So, I think we'll continue based on what we got coming up. We'll probably continue to maybe do a live webinar each month. I know we typically do a video, but I think it might warrant doing some more two-way communication where we're allowing you to ask questions and give some comments and feedback. So I've done enough talking for 48 minutes.
Well, thank you so much, Matt. There's no questions yet, but certainly if anyone does think of any questions as you are testing this out this week, please let us know. We'd be happy to jump on a call and dig into, a little bit more, or certainly use the request support in the help that was recently changed to that lower left-hand corner. But thank you all for your time. The recording will be distributed amongst you all, and please feel free to share it with your team. This is certainly, not only a collaboration tool, but a communication tool, and we want to make sure that everyone on the team is, has access to these webinars and content and the, latest and greatest that we'll be releasing. So feel free to share the recording with your teammates.
Awesome.
Any
Thanks
last
again.
words, Matt?
No, I've said enough.
All right.
I hope everyone enjoys 2.0, and definitely let us know if you have any questions, comments, feedback.
Thank you so much. Have a great afternoon.
Thanks, everyone.